So in case you didn't notice, all the hecklers have come up front. If there are any hecklers in the back, please come forward. We'll make sure that you're all, I see, you're to spread it all out. That's all good. So welcome to 2023 Storage Developer Conference. My name is Jay Metz. If you don't know me, I'm the guy with the funny hat and the funny name. And I am the chair of the board of directors for SDC, and I am very thrilled to welcome you to yet another in-person conference. So that doesn't happen all the time. But before we begin, there's a couple things that we're going to talk about today. Obviously, we're going to talk about some of the conference events. But I do want to start off with at least a moment of respect for a dear colleague of ours who passed away earlier this year. Mark is and was and will always be a true legend for SNIA. He has been part of SNIA for many, 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 many years and was a person who left his mark on many technological developments, both in the past and recently. And so his recent passing, he will be missed very sorely. Later on tonight, when we have the award ceremony, there will be a proper memorial. I do hope you stick around for celebrating the people who have worked very hard on behalf of SNIA and the respective companies, and also to pay proper tribute to Mark. So just a moment to acknowledge that we did lose somebody that meant a great deal to us. So what's the word I'm looking for? Posthumous, my word. That's the first cup of coffee I've had today, so I'm working on it. Thank you to Mark. So, here. Yes, thank you. All right, so we have decided that we are going to try to take the next 25 years of SNIA, and we're going to make sure that we move beyond where we have been into the new realm that we've been covering for quite a while, and that is specifically data. So as we started to go through the process of understanding what it is that SNIA is and what we've been doing, data was one of those things that kept coming up over and over and over again. We don't just store data. Storage is not capacity. One of the things that I talk about inside of my own company often is that, now I work for a company that makes processors. So processors and storage, they're related, but if you talk to chip heads, they don't really think of storage as anything much more than capacity. But as you know, storage is not just capacity. Storage is a system of protecting data. It's making it secure. Storage is a way of interacting with memory and making sure that you get the correct bit back that you ask for when you ask for it. That's what storage is and all the systems that go around that. So SNIA has started to take on the role of, well, we are more data-oriented than we are storage-oriented. And we are more oriented because you are more data-oriented. And that's what we're going to be celebrating in the Storage Developer Conference this time. So to put that into a visual perspective, we decided to change a couple of our branding images and really try to focus and take home the fact that storage is not just about drives. It's not just about capacity. It's about the way that we move data around, the way that we protect it, the way that we actually create the infrastructure for it, how we transport it, a lot of different ways that data actually interacts inside of technologies and ultimately at the end user's level. But I wanted to take a quick blast from the past and try to see where we've come up into this point. So I went back to the 2001 annual report, and I noticed that the technology of the day was the DVD. That was the key thing from 2001. Now, remember that this annual report now can drink. It's been 21 years. But back then, the technical highlights were about IP storage work. iSCSI was a big deal. The NFS RDMA technical work group had just been formed. And we had the Plug Fest for CIFS. And if Stephen Foskett is around here, I know he just cringed, but I'm actually using the word correctly. We are actually talking about CIFS in this case. And if you're an SMB guru, you know the joke that I'm trying to make here, and failing. Now, fast forward to 2007, 2008, what happened? Well, we were focusing on the new green storage initiative and the work that was being done for energy efficiency. SMIS was taking center stage, and we were doing a great deal of interoperability work on the management side. Had a protocol called XAM. I don't know if it was pronounced ZAM or not, because I haven't heard about, is it ZAM? ZAM, really? Okay. I haven't heard much about the extensible access method for quite a while, so I wasn't even sure. And then we had a bunch of other common technologies that we've kind of taken for granted over this time, but at one point in time they were new, and these were all promoted very heavily. Now some things haven't really changed. So we had a lot of predictions back in 2007, and some of them actually are correct. So even though the predictions of fiber channels death were somewhat premature, even in 2007 those predictions have come true. And yes, we do have fiber channel sessions this time around, and I highly encourage you to go see what's going on in the new physical layer work that's going on in fiber channel. So we have been making constant progress, but at the same time we've managed to stay true to our roots. So the agenda for today is going to be a keynote special day. A lot of keynotes that people have come up to me and said that they're going to be really, really looking forward to and good. I'm particularly interested in both the next one about software and enabled flash, as well as the one in space. Hey, I'm a space junkie. I'll go ahead and watch that one too. Obviously, it's not the only keynotes, but those are the next two on the list, and I'm looking forward to those. We've got the hands-on lab for the swordfish, the new management structure that is the replacement for SMIS. Or shall I say, I don't know if evolution is probably the right word. Evolution works. And then we have the breakout sessions. Later on this evening, we've got the SDC networking reception. Really quickly, at the Flash Memory Summit, we had 3 winners for the technology. Sean, was it Technology of the Year? Is that what it was? Yep. And so one of the things that's really kind of important is that each of those different technologies have dozens of people who've been working on computational storage, SDXI, Swordfish. This is not just individual efforts, and the people who have been behind the scenes really do deserve the recognition. So I hope you'll join us for the reception tonight to pay honor to those people who have really gone above and beyond the call of duty for this. And then we're going to have birds of a feather sessions, which I'll get to in a second. The SMB Interoperability Lab, note that's not the CIFS Interoperability Lab. The SMB Interoperability Lab, where several vendors are coming together to test and identify interoperability, connectivity, and compatibility with SMB. I want to thank Microsoft for presenting and sponsoring that PlugFest, that Interoperability Lab, excuse me. And then today we've got the keynotes. I told you a little bit about the software-enabled flash and the storage in space. We also have the question that's being asked about SSDs with CXL and whether or not they are a smart idea, wise idea, or not. I have my own opinions. I'm sure you do too. There's probably a good 60, 70 people in the room, and there's equally about 140 different opinions on that one. So, and then finally, we're going to talk about carbon measurement and reduction, and trying to get some more information about green energy. Later on tonight, we've got the Birds of a Feather meetings, and I was wondering about this, like, how do you go through 5 slides of schedule? Is it really that easy to do? And the answer is no, it's really not. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm not going to read what's going on here, but the Birds of a Feather are very successful. I'm told last night that at least one of the sessions went long because people were really enthusiastic about it. If you've never been to a Birds of a Feather session, I highly recommend that you try it. So a major thanks to our sponsors. Obviously, without them, this could not be possible. And one of the things that I'd like to point out and mention, and I got a little bit of time, one of the things I'd like to point out and mention is that as we've been moving forward with the content and happening since I joined SNIA back in 2014, so each year the content has gotten better. We've actually had more content of more quality. And I've been very thrilled by the fact that as we've been moving forward with these different kinds of technologies, we've got everything from computational storage to transports. We've got DNA storage. We got your capacity. We got your management. We got everything you want. Just come over here. We get it. No problem. But as we've been doing this, as we've been starting to go through, we've been attracting more and more attention from other organizations and other areas of interest, other disciplines. Let's put it that way. Last year we had really fascinating conversations in the keynotes, in particular with high performance computing. CXL was a major part of this. And only a few years ago, people would never have thought that storage and memory were one and the same. And now we've been on a collision course between those two different technologies for a long time, where they're actually blending quite well and quite nicely now. So it's very easy to see that a lot of these conversations are starting to broaden out to include other organizations and other types of companies who may not normally think about using a storage developer conference to show off what they've been doing. But as you can see from our sponsors this year, we've got quite an eclectic group of companies and organizations. And we're very proud to welcome them to the storage developer family. And we hope that we'll continue to do so in the future. Now, obviously, what we like to do is we want to make sure that everybody here is getting the most out of their time here. So, without having any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our next keynote speakers. And, yep. So, is it set up? Nope, just me. Okay. So I'd like to introduce Eric Reese, Senior VP of Kioxia, and Scott Stetzer, who is the VP of Kioxia America, to come and talk about the software-enabled flash. So essentially, how many people know what SEF is all about? Ooh. I was like, I hope the speakers do. This is going to be a very short conversation. All right, so the idea is there's a combination of hardware and software, open source software, to enable the ability to interact with Flash at a much more open level. Where is, okay, there we go. So welcome, and you're all mic'd up, that's good to hear.
Yeah,
good to see.